Welcome to Forbidden Transformation. And for those of you who are first-time viewers, my name is Karen Holton, and I'm co-hosting from Alberta, Canada. And my co-host is Chris Matthew of Forbidden Knowledge News, who is now located in Colorado, USA. Our mission is to support and educate the people of Earth and to assist them to evolve and experience ET contact for themselves. In this way, we help to create and participate in the new positive timeline. In future episodes, we plan to offer more about our ET experiences, have guests with common experiences and goals, more about the Quantum Health Transformation Program, and any relative news as it occurs. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, Karen, I'm doing very well. Thank you so much again for this amazing show and having me as your co-host. Looking forward to today's discussion.
Great. Now, do you have any announcements for us, Chris? By the way, thank you for being here too. I appreciate it very much.
Of
Do you have
course.
any announcements that you'd like to make?
Yes. Before we get started, please always remember to check out Forbidden Knowledge News. We are still on YouTube, even though YouTube has been basically just removing our videos lately. The last two episodes I did with Corey Hughes were very important episodes about some of the things going on right now with the pandemic, and they were just taken down. So I'm very frustrated with YouTube. We're always on your popular podcast platforms. They tried to mess with us there, but we got our monetization back. So we're still there. We're on all your podcast platforms. But YouTube, we're no longer going to feature anything that is considered controversial or that will be taken down. Because we may stream it live and then take it down after. We have a backup video platform. We have a couple, actually. LBRY.com is Forbidden Knowledge News official backup channel. Everything there is free. All of our content is already there. That is LBRY.com. Please check that out. Also, we have a brand new show and brand new platform that just came out. It's called Rokfin, ROKFIN, and the show is Beyond Classified. We are moving all of our what is considered controversial or things you can't hear on the mainstream or YouTube anymore. We're moving everything to Rokfin and our new upcoming platform that will be released later in the month. But the show, again, is called Beyond Classified. It's going to contain all the content you can't see here. And not only us, but many great content creators are already on this platform, like Charlie Robinson, Sam Tripoli, many more. So you're not just going to get Beyond Classified. You're going to get many content creators. A lot of the content is free on there. Some of it is premium, but it is worth it. It is one of those independent platforms that is going to be our future, where we're going to be able to get the information like this. So please check that out. You can click on the link on the description. I do not think it's working yet because our rep is still working on that, but you can always just go to Rokfin and search for Beyond Classified, and you'll find us there. Also, if you are ready to take control of your health, do it with C60 Purple Power. It's got so many benefits that I never even expected. I feel better than I felt in years, and one of the unexpected side effects is weight loss. I've lost so much weight. I feel great, and you really should too. You know, I've talked about the benefits on here before. Go check it out for yourself. It's c60purplepower.com. You can click the link in the description. If that for some reason doesn't work, use coupon code knowledge10 and you get 10% off your order plus free shipping when you check out. And that is all I've got for now, Karen.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And by the way, I've been taking C60 Purple Power, and it's amazing. It's worth the sacrifices that you may have to make to be able to afford it. But I'm telling you, you can't do anything if you don't have your health. So thank you, Chris. I just want to remind everyone that this is still a fairly new show. So please do reach out and share with your family, with your friends. Like our shows, subscribe to my YouTube channel, And of course, share with your friends and your family, as I mentioned. It's really important for us to get the algorithms because just with so much nonsense going on right now, we don't want to lose any more people than what we have. Sorry, we don't want to lose anybody. We don't want to lose any one of you. And we want you all to be part of what we're doing here. So today the show is an ET open discussion with you, the viewers. So please add your questions and your comments to the comments section while we're doing the live stream, and we'd be happy to include you in the conversation. And you can now book from my website a private session called Intuitive Time with Karen and Chris. So whether you've experienced the paranormal or you simply want to have some time, well, 1-on-2, I guess, with Chris and I, now's your chance to do that. And whether you've experienced the paranormal or you just simply want to spend some time with us, it's all good. I want you to know that as intuitive contactees, both Chris and I offer our own intuition-based wisdom and also our powers of consciousness. And we can share our experiences and our insight to help you get in touch with your own spiritual guides. I also offer one-on-one ET contact support and spiritual support for the many people who have experienced some type of ET or ultra-terrestrial experiences or with some kind of beings that are not from this world. Or if you would like to experience contact with the higher realms and create your own inner spiritual spaces, I can help you with that. When you've tried mainstream or alternative supports and you're still feeling confused or discouraged by your experiences, our services might be just what you need. And if you use coupon code KNOWLEDGE10, you'll receive 10% off each or any of these 3 services. So please support our work also by purchasing one of my Genuine Zendomes orgone generators. They're only available from my website. I'm going to be demoing these body discs today in our discussion. They're just absolutely amazing. Orgonite, if you haven't already experienced it, has really helped with my spiritual potential, increasing my spiritual potential significantly, and I really recommend them too. So again, all the links will be in the description below. And so now we're going to open it up to our group discussion, and I thought we could start off with good ET, bad ET, because you hear both the horror stories and you also hear all this amazing spiritually upbuilding stuff. What's really going on? Chris, do you have any thoughts you want to start off by sharing with us?
The good ET, bad ET thing is very interesting because the only experience I've had with any intelligence that I would consider possibly off planet is very positive. I've had a very positive encounter. But I have heard plenty of stories about malevolent abduction experiences. Now, most of these include what people call the grays, whether they're little biological entities or robots, which most tend to believe they are. There are some researchers that actually believe that they're us from the future that have evolved that way somehow. I'm not sure about that. Maybe some of the taller grays. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that. But I do know that more of the malevolent abduction cases are associated with these little beings here. And if they are biological robots being used for something else, the question is who or what is using these biological robots. Now I've been listening to a lot of the the mainstream UFO information that's been coming out lately, not because I believe it in any way, but because I'm interested in what their narrative that they've been pushing. And it is very interesting because more and more people on this mainstream higher level are coming out and talking about it. They have the guy from America on Earth, Scott Wolter. He was on Leak Project the other day. Now, this is a pretty credible guy, and he's kind of agreeing with the whole government disclosure kind of thing that's going on right now, kind of going along with it, pushing the narrative. And it seems rather strange. It seems that they're getting these big name, well-respected people to come out and start talking about this UFO phenomenon. But also they have an angle where they could be a threat. And it's mostly they're focusing on this nuts and bolts UFO angle where they had these exotic materials and the information that Scott Wolter presented on Leap Project was very interesting. He said most of these ETs, because he supposedly has a contact within the Department of Defense that has given him some information. He says most of these ETs look like us, like you and I. And if the Greys are robots, that these entities that look like us, talk like us, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart as human, or could be using these for their own methods. Also, according to him, that there are different factions with different interests. Now, again, I'm not trusting any of the information coming from these people, but I'm taking it in and listening to it and comparing it to everything else that I've learned throughout the years with different researchers. And it is extremely interesting that right now, during all this chaos, that they're pushing this UFO agenda and coming out with this information right now. As far as negative ETs, I know they're there. One of the most profound interviews I've done with an abductee that I highly recommend is with Terry Lovelace. He wrote the book Abduction at Devil's Den. And everything about that encounter was not fun. It included the little Greys. And if you're not familiar with Terry Lovelace, you just go do a little research on him. Very highly credible military man. It happened when he was younger, when he was in the military in the 50s. An incredible story. And he told this one part that really kind of shook me, that this taller being looked sort of humanoid. Not exactly, though. Walked in while he was on this table. He couldn't move. All he could do was see him out of the corner of his eye. And he felt like he was being picked apart by this being like nothing he had ever felt before. He could only describe it as like the feeling of a dog would feel to a human, like it's such an alpha presence. And he felt like this being was reading him, picking him apart, reading every thought in his mind, and saying that there was nothing he could do about it, and just felt this awful, presence coming from this being, that this being didn't care about us. It didn't give one crap. We were like an experiment to it. So whether you consider that malevolent or bad, I don't know. I don't know if they're just indifferent and we are just like an experiment to some of these, which you would consider negative ETs. That's more along the lines that I kind of go along with, that if they're there, that if these negative beings are out there and they're using these little gray robots, that they really don't care either way. If they do, it's not, it's for their own purposes. It's for whatever purposes they have for us. And oftentimes I think we're, an experiment anyway. And there's these warring factions that are trying to gain either control or access to this experiment Earth and have their own agendas pushed in and out of it. And I think that's what we're in right now. We're in the middle of the crossfires of a few agendas, whether it's extraterrestrial or just human or a mix of both, which is probably the case. That's what's happening right now, and I think that's really my thoughts on the whole good ET, bad ET thing.
Good points. Very good points. Yeah, I personally have a couple of takes I'd like to share. First of all, I want to say that I validate everybody's experience, everybody's, because just like there's a lot of people who don't believe me, which actually matters not to me, but, it's difficult enough to be somewhat marginalized by your experiences and then to be marginalized in society on top of that makes it a difficult situation. So I don't think anyone would choose to make up an ET abduction or contactee experience, because it really costs us in the social reality where we have to live and function every day. But as far as good ET and bad ET, here's my take on it, folks. Good ET follows protocols that are universal throughout the galaxies, and it's a very strong non-interference. Assist us when we ask for assistance, when we call them in for help, that's when we get the help. And it's often done on a very high vibrational context, like a very spiritual context, which may or may not have anything to do with religion. And so that's the big thing I want to bring to the table from what I will call benevolent ET, is ask for help. There's the ET realms, there's the ultra-terrestrial realms, there's all kinds of non-corporeal beings we can't even imagine. There's angels, there's elementals, there's ancestors, there's so many avenues, but we have to ask for help, and we have to be willing to do what it takes so that we can hold the frequency to interface with these beings. Now, on the other side of the coin, I'm going to use some strange language here so that our show doesn't get taken off. But I think you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, if we live in a world society that's been dominated by beings who have never cared for us beyond that they consider us cattle, that they would be able to cook up the kind of false Freddies to do with blowing things up and having all kinds of wars that we think are real, and we're taught all this stuff that's completely bogus, that has just been created by a handful of elites who think they are the main event and that we are just here to be disposed of as they see fit, experimented on, etc., then if that's the way our world leaders are, which I do believe they are, very sociopathic, then I could see them also branching off and making agreements and contracts with beings who are off-world, who also don't give a fiddler's fart about you and I. And so I think there is some of that going on, but I'm going to tell you, a benevolent or good ET group is not going to come in here and mess with us and mess with our livestock, because we are embedded in a greater system that is spiritually supported, that runs on the love harmonic, and that would never be tolerated. But for a time, and what might seem a long time to us, even a few thousand years, is a very short time when you consider the size of the galaxy and the universe and the multiverse and the omniverse. It's, I believe, on a spiritual level, our experiences here on Earth are for our own personal soul development. And I think that sometimes some things are allowed to happen because they need to work their way out. And once they're worked out, then the issue's been settled. People can't go, oh, well, you know, those humans, if we don't give them everything they want, they're just going to breed and take over the planet and cause global warming and all and destroy themselves or whatever. Well, we know that's not true. We know the majority of human beings here on Earth are mighty fine beings that have a lot to contribute spiritually, morally, ethically, as far as the arts goes and everything else. We're amazing creative beings. I do believe that we are a hybrid, that we have been messed with so that we could have the divine spark. We have this amazing creative ability. And if we come to our senses and take our sovereignty and our power, there's nothing we can't do for ourselves. And in my opinion, the benevolent ETs are waiting for us to do that. And in the meantime, we can reach out for help and we can get help. But as far as the negative ETs go, I think there's a certain amount of that going on, but I got to tell you, we can't really believe what we're told. Look what they're saying about the numbers of people who have fallen ill in the last year. I'm not going to say what it is, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It's touched every single one of us in all our lives. All the lies around that. Wow. All the propaganda around the jab that everyone's supposed to be getting. And all these other things. Well, if our world governments are going to come together and do these kind of shenanigans, what's to stop them? They'll just keep pouring on whatever it takes to scare the daylights out of us and to keep us in line. And when we're afraid, we're way easier to control. We don't take our sovereignty, we don't come into our own power, and we don't fix things like we're supposed to be doing for ourselves here. So that being said, I think there are some off-world groups who are pretty screwed up and certainly psychopathic and not on the love harmonic. And they've created these bubbles of reality that are interfacing with the negative forces on planet Earth. And so I do think that some of that is going on. So let's get on to maybe what the...
Now, before we move on from that, I
Sure.
just have another comment. You know, sometimes I think that it's us humans that are the bad ETs. You know, they may have put in these constructs a long time ago, but we've had thousands of years to clean up our act. It's us that are choosing to perpetuate this. And I think 100%, especially what's going on today, I think that's all human. I think this is all us just power hungry psychopaths at the top, very few families, very few, whatever you want to call them at the top, that are causing all this chaos on the planet right now. And I think that it's only up to us to fix it, because I think mostly it's us that are the bad ETs. And a lot of people may not want to hear that, but I think it's true. If you look at the actual human part of this, you know, all the planning, all the leaders, everyone involved, the media, even down to your local levels, that's humans, that's us, you know, and you can't deny that.